The night rain fell heavily on the rusty rooftops of Makoko, a forgotten ghetto where survival was a daily war. Inside a cramped wooden room lit by a flickering bulb sat Amara Okoi, a woman whose sharp eyes had seen more pain than most people twice her age. Life in the ghetto had hardened her. Amara wasn't the type of woman people messed with. She had a fiery temper, a fearless mouth, and a reputation that made even street boys think twice before crossing her. Growing up without parents meant she learned early that the world showed no mercy. So she never showed any back. If someone disrespected her, she responded twice as hard. If someone tried to cheat her, she made sure they regretted it. In Makoko, people often said, Amara's heart is made of fire. But deep down, beneath the rough words and tough attitude, Amara carried a quiet dream she never told anyone. She wanted a different life. A peaceful life. A life where she didn't have to fight every single day just to breathe. But dreams like that rarely came true in places like Makoko. Until one afternoon that changed everything. It was a hot afternoon when Amara was selling roasted corn by the roadside. Cars passed by, horns blaring endlessly, the smell of smoke and street food filling the air. Suddenly, a sleek black SUV pulled over near her small stand. People in the ghetto always noticed expensive cars. They were rare. The car door opened, and a tall man stepped out. He was dressed in a simple but expensive suit, the kind that immediately told you he didn't belong anywhere near the ghetto. His name was David Ease. A wealthy businessman, owner of multiple companies across Lagos. But that day, none of that mattered. Because the moment his eyes met Amara's, something strange happened. He smiled. Not the fake smile rich people usually gave when they felt uncomfortable. A real smile. Amara raised an eyebrow suspiciously. "Why you smiling like that?" she asked bluntly. David chuckled. "I was just wondering if you sell to strangers too." She folded her arms. "If you have money, you're not a stranger anymore." That answer made David laugh even harder. He bought 2 roasted corns and stayed there talking with her longer than expected. That was the beginning. Days turned into weeks. David kept coming back. At first Amara thought he was joking or maybe bored. But he kept returning. Sometimes he came just to talk. Sometimes he helped her carry her things when she was closing for the day. Other times he simply stood there listening to her complain about life. For the first time in years, Amara felt something she had almost forgotten. Peace. David never judged her, never mocked her background, never acted superior. He listened. And slowly, the walls around Amara's heart began to crack. But there was one problem. David came from a powerful family. The Ease family. And they believed strongly in class, reputation, and social status. To them, family name meant everything. So when David told them about Amara, their reaction was explosive. His mother, Madame Beatrice Ease, nearly fainted from shock. "A girl from the ghetto," she cried. His sister, Vanessa, laughed mockingly. "David, you can't be serious." His younger brother Michael shook his head. This must be some joke. But David wasn't joking. He was deeply in love. 6 months later, despite all their protests, David married Amara. The wedding was simple but elegant. Many members of the Ease family refused to attend. But David didn't care. Standing before everyone, holding Amara's hand, he said words that changed her life forever. "I don't care where you came from. I only care about who you are." For the first time in her life, Amara cried tears of happiness. Marriage changed her, not because David forced her, but because she wanted to grow. She began learning new things. How to speak more calmly. How to dress elegantly. How to behave in high society gatherings. She even went back to school for business courses. Slowly, the rough edges of the ghetto faded. People who met her later could never guess where she came from. But one group of people never accepted her transformation. David's family. To them, Amara would always be a ghetto girl pretending to be a lady. They watched her closely, waiting, hoping, expecting her to eventually reveal her true colors. But 2 years passed, and she never did. Then one morning, tragedy struck. David collapsed in his office. By the time doctors arrived, it was too late. The powerful businessman who built an empire was gone. Just like that, No warning. No goodbye. The news spread like wildfire across Lagos. And inside the East family mansion, grief quickly turned into suspicion. Madame Beatrice stared coldly at Amara during the funeral. Vanessa whispered cruel words behind her back. Michael barely even tried hiding his hatred. To them, there was only one possible explanation. Amara. And when the family lawyer announced that David had left behind a will, the storm that followed would change everything. Because what David left behind would turn love into war. And turn a quiet widow into someone they would soon regret ever provoking. Stay tuned for part 2. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more mind-blowing stories.